Hey, hey everyone, this is Dale Berkebile, the business misfit from Brandwise. Today we have a really interesting episode. It's all about innovation, and I was blown away by some people that I met today at 1 Million Cups. And basically we're just going to have a little conversation, talk to each other, and expose you to some amazing ideas. So, who wants to share? Want to share who you are?
Hi, my name is Losa, and we're Out There Productions. Here's the shirt. They can talk more about it today.
Okay.
I'm Johnny. I don't have the shirt on. I'm sorry, but I'm also with Out There Productions, and I do some of the photo work and some of the story work that Aaron will tell you about the company.
All right, Bill. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Hello, Bill. Hello, my name is Aaron. I am the Capcom and co-founder of Out There Productions. I have the shirt on. Hey, yo! So, yeah, we'll tell you a little bit more about it. I guess the pitch of it is that Out There Productions is your one-stop shop for getting awesome ideas out there. And if you guys want to roll with that.
Yeah. Basically, senior year of college. Okay, we graduated Syracuse University in May. We got together and we said, okay, the culturally acceptable thing to do is to apply to a job and have a career and whatnot. We said we didn't want to do that. Basically, we've been working with small businesses and startups in Syracuse, making promotional videos, teaching them how to pitch, things like that while we were in college part-time to pay the bills, buy some ramen. And we wanted to do that full-time after we graduated. We figured we could pay our loans and get by doing what we loved. So we hit the road. Because, of course, if you're going to start a company, you're going to do it out of a school bus. Yeah, that's what we did. We bought a school bus, converted it into an RV, and I've been driving around the country for the past couple of months, trying to find the coolest people we possibly can to help them get their dreams going. We make explainer videos, we teach pitching, we teach social media, we do social media. All of these things together we call media acceleration. Because essentially, we come in, we say, hey, you're doing a cool thing. We want to get your media accelerated. Teach you how to do it for you, and do it well. So that's Out There Productions, the crazy kids on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny pretty much nailed it. So we're fresh out of college, just graduated in May, and we have this 8-month road trip that is planned, and we started in Syracuse, New York. We sort of bolted all the way to California to get license plates, since I'm from California and Los is from California, and for some reason it's there's a lot legally that you need to do if you're from Boston to get license plates.
Yeah, the conversion for buses in Massachusetts is it's so complicated.
I guess Massachusetts people don't do that. I guess Californians do. So, yeah, so we got a reputation to live up to. So,
living the dream.
Yeah, so we bolted across the country in 6 days, got our license plates. Everybody took the summer off. Johnny's a camp counselor. I was helping build startups over in Portland, Oregon, Pacific Northwest, PNW. And then Losa was chilling in LA, building a startup down there as well. And then we synced up in my parents' garage, which is any great place to start a business. And we all synced up, we packed the bus, and we started heading east to travel across the country and head back up to Syracuse in May, where there's an amazing concert that's going to be happening called Mayfest. And that's the only reason why we're going back, because other than that, honestly, I'm done with school. So, yeah, that's how things are going. Anything to say, Losa?
Yeah,
Any thoughts?
Yeah, just one of the coolest things about this is meeting people along the way, meeting people so many different ages and doing so many different types of things and businesses. I think after being around people my age for 4 years and people doing art, #art film stuff all the time, it's nice meeting people trying to build a business, trying to meeting the movers and shakers of a specific city and learning about a city and what makes a city run, who runs a city. It's entrepreneurs, they're the ones building stuff and making stuff. So that's been really inspirational, and just trying to find people and hear their stories. Also, when we park at Walmarts, we meet a lot of cool people. Yesterday, we just met someone who also lived on a short bus. He just drove up and was like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And then he told us that he does like Burning Man stuff and like builds fires, and he like is a certified wilderness emergency guy. It's pretty cool.
Crazy.
That is pretty cool. So, who else has an interesting story about the trip so far? Any other interesting stories?
There's too many. They all come at once. There's a flood of stories.
Oh man.
Okay,
Oh, man.
what's the weirdest thing that has happened?
Why does everyone ask that?
Everyone's just
Do you have something?
I mean, it's like weird in like a dangerous way. All right, so we were in.
Scariest moment.
Okay, so we were parked in San Antonio. It was just me and Johnny, and Aaron went to Syracuse for Thanksgiving. So we decided, we rolled up like in the afternoon, like on Black Friday, so like mostly everyone's done shopping. Maybe like 5 p.m. to like a Walmart to park for the night. And we went in to buy Pop-Tarts and spinach and steak and whatever. And steak, just the staples of the bus life, right? So yeah, as we walked in, there was tons of like caution tape and police cars off to the side of the parking lot. And we're like, that's weird, whatever. We're just gonna do our thing. So we made the food, ate Pop-Tarts, whatever. So the next day we woke up, we went to the library to do some work. I was scrolling on my Facebook feed and I see an article that says like, person like shot dead in San Antonio at this Walmart parking lot on Black Friday. And I click on it and it was the same Walmart and it happened a couple hours before we arrived there. So like, the world is a big place. You never know what's going to happen. Other than that, we've all, like the opposite of that is we met a really cool lady who owns like a coffee company. She owns like coffee farms in Colombia and is importing beans. And like we stayed at her mansion and like babysat her kids while we made her website.
Nice.
So kind of get the whole spectrum, I suppose.
Okay, so one of the things that they talked about that's really interesting and I think a little bit different that really got me excited is, so they're traveling around in this bus, but the cool thing is if they come into your town, they can pull the bus up right in front of your shop or right in front of your home-based business and set up shop and do business right there. And it just seems like a really unique, clever way to do business. I love looking for ways to disrupt business and do things different, and these guys have really captured it. So thank you, Michael, for joining. Thank you, Lori, for joining. And any other interesting stories or thoughts?
I'd say if you guys want to check out a little bit more of what we're doing and sort of check things out, you can follow us on the internet at OTPROS, at OTPros, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. And then also, if you want to see people like sort of building stuff out of buses or vans, you can look up #vanlife or #buslife. And those are, you can go down like some crazy rabbit holes there. But we're on there as well. And let's see, any other crazy stories? When we were in Albuquerque, I met a chinchilla named Christina, and she was pretty nice.
She was so nice.
Yeah, we parked in front of one of our clients' houses, and she was building a video studio for herself, which we assisted with. And what she wanted to do is she wanted to create video like tutorials on how people could treat their own mental disorders, whether it's anxiety attacks, OCD, panic attacks, that kind of stuff. And she wanted to create that training and counseling that you can access online anywhere, anytime.
Who is that person?
Her name is Dora Wang, and
okay.
it's, yeah.
I know another person that's doing something similar to that. I'm like, oh my
Oh,
God, do I know that
What?
person?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Dude,
What's their name? We want to connect them.
make the connection.
Her name is Remy Marquez or something like that. I forget. I can connect the information and get it to you for sure. But I just learned about, she's someone that's doing some of the similar stuff that I'm doing, and we connected recently, but I didn't know what she did, and I just found out yesterday that's kind of a similar thing that she's doing. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe they can, I don't know, piggyback
Team up,
or
talk
support
about
each other. Yeah,
Of
at least
course.
have a go-to person to say,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yes, we helped her build her video studio in a day. And we set everything up so she could just, all she had to do is press record on her phone and basically record all of the tutorials that she had planned. And it was pretty cool. She had a small terrier that had its hair dyed pink. And she also had a chinchilla named Christina. So it was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
That's really what I like most about what we do, and that's sort of it's the core of what we do. You know, we have two main lines that we talk about as like our mottos. One is we ascend together. You know, we go and we work with people, and we build their companies, but they help us go. They teach us what we're doing. You know, we're millennials straight out of college. We don't know too much about the real world. So they're helping us learn, you know, what it's like to be alive and live and grow in that way. The other side of things, you know, is we come and we work with people. We work at their homes. And that sort of feel of pulling up to people's places and places of work and being a part of their lives, you know, really making an impact on them of the whole business entity. Because when you're an entrepreneur, when you run a startup, when you run a small business, you know, that is your life. There's no work-life balance. It's a work-life mesh. So we love to be able to come in and work with people in their lives. You know, the coffee company that Losa was talking about in San Antonio. Okay, she has a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. So when they get out of school, her work day ends pretty much. But we can come in and Aaron can manage the kids for an hour while Losa and I work on a project, and then I'll handle them so that Patricia and everyone can get work done and make things happen. And that's sort of our favorite part, is being able to make a real impact on people's lives. Because it's one thing to give you a video to spread your company. It's another thing to make you feel like you're on the right track and that you have a foothold as you're growing your business.
Well, so let me ask you another question that's a little off topic to some degree. So we've talked about business and all the things that you do, but what is the personal thing that you love about what you do? So you mentioned a little bit connecting with the people, but you also shared that you're hitting some of the national parks and things like that. So do you guys, so if I go around, tell me all the personal, what is the personal thing that you love about doing what you do? Or why?
Yeah, the personal thing I love about doing this, I think, well, I'm a filmmaker. I went to school to study film. I don't know, what does that degree even mean? No one knows. But like, I guess I enjoy the storytelling aspect of it. I love movies, and I love like that I can create that for someone and like hear their story, listen to it, and then interpret it and give them a product that like makes them happy and that shows what they're doing and like represents what they're doing. Also, like I said, it's like just meeting people. Like I love my teammates, like, because they get to talk to people and I get to sit there and listen to all these people who I would have never met, who are so completely different, like all ages, like the youngest, like the oldest, like everyone has such a different perspective. My other favorite part is that we're going across the country. Like I'm from California, I went to school in New York, so I completely skipped the middle part and like I don't really know as much about it as I could, and I just think I'm learning so much from people who like live in these towns that are not considered like New York, LA, Chicago, and it's really where a lot of the rest, like just where people live and work, and so that's been really eye-opening and awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I enjoy living, but I've lived most of my life in the woods. My other job is a summer camp counselor. I do a lot of camping and whatnot. So driving around to different cities and things is awesome. I love being able to pay my student loans. But
I love to pay my student loans.
I love
Really?
struggling to not be in debt anymore. But the best part for me is really, like Losa was saying, is seeing the country and seeing, okay, there's national parks and monuments and reserves all over the country that have really awesome things to do. It's a centennial year. The 100th year the National Park Service has been around. And so it's been a really cool experience seeing these places that have been set aside specifically for people to go see and enjoy the natural wonders of the United States. Because I've met a ton of people who are clearly wonders, who are doing awesome things and building cool businesses. And the clear other side of that is the natural things that were here even before the businesses were there, you know. That's been cool for me.
It's awesome.
Well, I just like being on Facebook Live. That's why I travel around the world. No, I mean, so obviously I like to do this because I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship. I'm obsessed with people who have crazy ideas and that are running with it. And those vary from place to place. Something that excites me about this is that every day is different. And I'm not sitting at a cubicle, and I'm not sort of just like doing something that's systematic. And just having like every day kind of be different and sort of out of the ordinary. You never know who you're gonna meet. You never know like who's gonna be in the Walmart parking lot today.
When you're going to show up on Facebook Live?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all sort of, it's very spontaneous, which is kind of what I like. Boop, boop, boop. And also, like, just being out of college is kind of nice because you have so much time to read. And so I've been, like, reading books, and I just started Girl with the Dragon Tattoo last night. So, yeah, it sort of gives you time to sort of reflect on our young lives so far and where we want to go after this adventure. So it's pretty cool being young and just being able to go anywhere and having the business aspect to pay the bills as well.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. Millennials, oh my God, they don't know how to do anything.
No
They're
clue.
such losers.
so
They don't know how to work. There's no work ethic. And this is a perfect example. These hippies crossing the country, there's
Yeah.
no work ethic. What do you have to say about those ideas?
About millennials? Like,
About the outlook or the outpour of negativity towards millennials, the lazy
I don't know.
millennial.
I feel like, isn't that just like a generational thing of like whatever the next generation is? They're like, oh, they have more stuff and like they're not doing anything with it. I mean, I think personally for us, like as we're in our early 20s, like we're the interesting. I just think we're at a very cool part of the whole millennial generation of like we had an inkling of like what it was like before the internet, like just right as it became popular. So like we also remember what life was like before the internet, like just how people interacted with each other face to face. So like we have all this technology, we all have smartphones, we all have cameras, and like we all have all these apps and stuff, but we know like at a certain time like when to put it down and talk to people, which I think is valuable. And I guess what people think is that millennials we don't do that anymore. I don't know, it's just like it's a generational thing. It's like every time, like the more time passes, the more that the next generation has more of the cool stuff that the generations before didn't have. And I think it's like a challenge because they like on some aspect, like they'll never know what it was like to not have that, but then on other aspect, like they learn ways to utilize it to make things better. So I think, I don't know, there's like that negative connotation, but like
So do you think that it's a jealousy thing? Like, damn it, those kids have all these toys and gadgets.
Nah, I think it's more of like I don't think it's a jealousy thing. I think it's also because of technology, everything's more visible. So like what has probably always happened before, and now it's just like we see it all the time. So like now you'll see so many stories of like these negative stories of like millennials who don't talk to each other or like aren't, like misusing technology. But then it's like maybe those stories have always existed, but now like we actually see it on our
They're
news
just
feeds.
in public.
And yeah, and like there's this whole thing
On
with
Facebook Live.
yeah, like Facebook Live, and like this
It's
whole
published.
thing with like fake news and like all that stuff is like it's out. It's like whatever people see first is still the most important. So like even like we had, or like in our 1 million cups, like some guy with like Gorilla Science. It's like it's so important because like it's always what people see that like matters, and like we just happen to look at screens a lot more than we did a lot. So yeah.
Okay, very good.
I don't know. For me, it just seems like a shift, and people are always questioning shifts because we don't know what they're about. We don't know what's next. We don't know what this means. And especially for someone who has spent 30, 40, 50 years in using specific technology like newspapers or face-to-face conversation, a difference in that, okay, that's going to be different. And why would you do that when this works well? You know, why would I buy a new car when the car I have works fine? I see a lot of that as sort of the perspective that generates this sort of lazy millennial stereotype. You know, people just don't necessarily understand it completely. But I don't know, for me, as a writer, I look at things a lot in the concept of language, in the concept of words. I see, you know, the development of language is similar to the development of technology. You know, Shakespeare comes around and he invents a word like bedroom, and everyone sort of has to stop and think, and what does that mean? Okay, there's bed, and it's a room, so it's where you sleep. And now, we don't even think twice about the idea of a bedroom. You know, everyone knows what that word means. It's in our dialect. It's in the way we talk. It's part of our lives. And so, okay, when this concept first comes around, people are like, okay, who needs that? But once it becomes part of society, you know, you adapt and you change and you live and you use it because it's useful. You know, I see that a lot as like Facebook Live and technology and whatnot. Is, you know, it first comes around, it's like, what is this thing? How do we use it? Then people learn how to use it, and now I see this whole pendulum swinging coming back. You know, because we've gotten into this digital age, and there's technology in our pockets, and we have computers in our phones that could fly a space rocket to the moon. Now people are understanding, okay, this is what we can do with it, but I don't want to use it for everything. You know, I don't want to use it for all of what I do. I don't want it to consume my life. Like I don't want reading the newspaper to consume my life. You know, I'm going to constrain reading the newspaper to the mornings with my cup of coffee. I'm going to constrain Facebook Live to an hour in the afternoon. To think that it shouldn't be at any part of our lives, to me seems a little bit short-sighted. So I'm excited to see now, you know, you have apps like Airbnb or Uber that give us connectivity and the possibility to do so many things, but people still need to do them. You know, you can get connected to things, but if you're not actually committing to it, you know, if you don't pay someone $12 for an Uber, you're not going to use Uber. So the potential is cool because it makes everything smaller as far as the internet and different life goals and things like that. But at the same time, you know, for my generation, talking to people who I know, you know, you meet someone who's a blacksmith or someone who knows how to make things out of wood, and they're the coolest people. You know, people really enjoy general, handmade human connection because that's the thing that's now new. That's the thing that's now different than the standard, because the standard is you buy it on Amazon or you have a video conference call with someone. You know, that's the standard. So now those different things are held to a higher standard. And I think that's really cool because there definitely is an equilibrium there. There's a balance there between what technology can do for us and what we have to do for ourselves. And I'm excited to see what millennials turn that into.
And millennials aren't really lazy?
No, I think millennials are just misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, some thoughts on that?
Okay. I've experienced a lot of I've experienced productive millennials, and I can see how people could be like, oh, those young kids these days are just
Those whippersnappers?
they're like pulling the reefer, and they're
On the reefer.
they're on Facebook and on the Twitters, and it's like, what are they doing? They're Instagrizzling, and but no, we're in an age of just like interconnectivity of like the availability of information and the ability to share it with people is just like it's so easy. So I feel like we're given a platform to create, and that's amazing. I think that's sort of helped with like our productivity. I feel like people like us, people might be like, oh, are they lazy millennials? And you can sort of just see what we've done, and it's like it's completely the opposite. We're obsessed with hard work, and we like to be busy all the time, and that might just be us, but I feel like what we're doing might inspire people who would choose the lazy life to get up and actually build something. And I think that's really cool about like how entrepreneurship is becoming trendy these days, because it's giving people an option to not like take a more traditional job route and sort of do their own thing, and if they have an idea, they can run with it. So yeah, I think that, I don't know, I think that people have the tools that they need in order to not choose a more laid back like sort of option, because like honestly, you need to hustle these days to make all your payments. If you went to college, it's like, dang, you need to pay your, yeah, you need to pay your student loans for the next 10 years. So yeah, so you don't really have the you don't have the luxury to be like a slacker these days, and that like maybe that's awesome. Maybe you need that light under your butt to keep going. And honestly, like I'm fine with that. If you're not fine with that, then like what are you doing, bro? Like just do something. And I think that we're also in a time where individuality is such an important thing as well. And if people want to show that they're individuals and they want to sort of differentiate themselves against the noise. So that also just adds a whole nother level of productivity to like show your work and put yourself out there to like the world. So that's how I see things. And if you think millennials are lazy, just like hop on YouTube, hop on Instagram and see what people are making. It's pretty inspiring. And we're maybe people who are like, ugh, millennials, or maybe they are jealous, because like, who knows? Who knows?
Because you're
man?
living the dream, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. What's your perception of millennials?
Well, I think it's interesting because I hear the conversation. You know, I hear people bad mouthing millennials, right? And I don't, I don't really have an opinion, to be honest with you. You know, because as a person that came out of college, I was always bucking the system. That was my job, trying to find ways to buck the system. I never fit. I was always that square peg in a round hole, and it wasn't until actually recently that I said, you know what, screw it. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. I don't give a shit. And so I kind of feel like I can relate with some of the stuff you were talking about. And the thing that you hit on that's interesting to me, and it's great having a millennial's perspective, is we're fighting to stand out. And if you think about it, maybe it's the fact that everyone has the opportunity to create a Facebook Live or a Twitter account or Snapchat or you name it. And so how do we stand out? How can we be different? And so just to live and be different is a full-time job, not even talking about work, you know, because everyone is out there and...
Say it again, Brad.
But you know, from the old time business people that are looking down, they're like, "Oh, we're never going to get these millennials to work." To me, it's a little odd because I don't know. Maybe it is a cultural thing that next generation down is the lazy slackers that doesn't want to do anything. You know, you had it in the '60s with the dirty hippies. They're lazy and they don't want to do anything. And now they're the people that are calling people lazy that don't want to do anything, which is kind of a whole flip flop on the. You know, maybe we get to that point. We get old and curmudgeon. Get off the lawn, you damn kids. So one more question about what you guys do, which is interesting because it reminds me of I'm a big music fan, and so I love weird bands and the underdogs and people who are out there doing it. Right? Mm-hmm. They don't have the big deal. They're just out there living it, and so they're on the road. And to some degree, you guys are kind of on the road. You're doing the same thing, and you always hear these stories about, oh my God, like living in a confined van with someone all day, every day, is kind of crazy, and it breaks up bands and things like that. So how do you guys deal with that, or what are your thoughts on that, or how has the experience been? So
well, it's only been a short amount of time, like 2 months, right? So I don't know, I think I'm still figuring that out because we're all like different types of people. Like I'd say I'm more introverted, Aaron's like more extroverted and like likes to talk to people. So like I think, I don't know, the fact that we do like stop at national parks and like take some time off, I guess, is like really nice. So I guess we're still we're still figuring out like how to live and like enjoy, but also like when we're traveling and just driving, like looking out the window is kind of almost enough sometimes. You're just seeing like the whole like landscape of Texas go by and it's really beautiful. So that's pretty cool. I didn't really answer the question, but you can ask him because he'll answer the question.
Yeah, I don't know. Like one of the first things Aaron and I learned when we were taking entrepreneurship classes was that the highest functioning team has pieces that are all different. So when we were building our team, we wanted to have people who did a whole bunch of different things. So like Aaron's very different from me. He's very different from Losa. We all come from different spaces, and that makes for a really good team as far as business goes. As far as living together, it can be a little bit difficult. But like for me, that's a good thing, because that means we're all growing all the time, and that's what I'm trying to do. Even just being on the bus. If I didn't even have a job on the bus, growing and learning about who I am as a person and what I can be as a man and a person is important to me. So hanging out with these guys is fantastic, and it's all just about learning and growing. And so for me, communication is the biggest part of that. Is, okay, I do something that makes you angry or whatever, and you tell me and I fix it. Or if I can't fix it, we can game plan and figure out how we can work together. But that's what it's all about for me, is this learning process. And Losa hit on it. We've only been on the road for 2 months. We're still sort of, not only are we learning how to live with each other, we're learning how to live as individuals. We've only been real adults since May.
Well, welcome to adulthood.
Yeah, the real world is crazy.
What do we do here?
But yeah, it's nice to have breaks every once in a while, but it's super cool to be able to learn from each other, learn how people work.
Yeah, so we all live 2 feet away from each other. So that's kind of interesting. Like I went from living in a split double in college to another split double to living in an apartment and having my own room, which was dope. And then now I'm living in an open triple with like 2 other people. So so that's like really been interesting. But like I think Johnny said it right, when it's you're finding a good team that you can roll with and that you can pretty much live with, because we are like sort of just a traveling band of wily folks, and thankfully all of our skills and personalities are complementary, so we can figure out how to live with each other and how to work with each other, and we're pretty open on like if we have any qualms, then we could figure that out. So it is definitely a learning process. We are 3 months in to an 8-month trip, but so far we've been working together quite well, and we've been handling projects and living on a day-to-day basis, cooking dinners, cooking coffee. So and I mean I'm the messiest person on the bus. So every time like people are like, "Yo, why is your stuff everywhere?" Then I'm like, "All right, I'm living with 2 other people. Got to respect the space. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. I think it's been cool. And then yeah, I'm definitely like I'm an extrovert, but I have my introvert moments when it's like, I don't know, man. Like it's 9 o'clock, but I'm gonna turn in and read my books. So. Yes, and like we kind of have our own spaces on the bus too. Like I'm on the bottom bunk now, and yeah, we sort of like block it off, and everybody has their own space, even though the space is quite small. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Well, one of the great things that you touched on was something that I think really rings true for business. Is at the end of the day, we need to have people that are completely different, that are bringing value to the table, but we're not having the same, this person does the exact same thing, right? For me as an entrepreneur, my number one goal is finding people that can do the exact opposite. And it's so funny because with my wife, she's completely opposite of me. And before, when we were dating, I was scared shitless because I'm like, oh my God, we are so polar opposite. Like, is this ever going to work? Is this ever going to work? And what I found was it's the most amazing relationship because we are so different. Because when I'm up, she's down. When she's up, I'm down. And like, it's amazing. And so like, we just complement each other so well. I want to find that integrator that's going to be the kind of partner that's exactly opposite of me, that's going to, be that person that is going to complement all of my strengths and fix all of my weaknesses, of course. And I think you guys kind of touched on that a little bit. So culture is extremely important. And so, it's new in the game for you, only having 2 months or 3 months under your belt. But that brings up the next question. So what happens in 8 months at the end of the road? What is the game plan?
So the game plan is I am actually the one throwing the wrench in the whole deal. My other job is a summer camp counselor. So I want to see if I could get back and do that again, because I love that kind of stuff. I love working with people and investing in their lives. Meanwhile, the other two will be in Syracuse or where have you. I mean, we live on a bus, so who knows exactly where we'll be. But it's seeing, okay, what's the next step? What's the next door? We really want to come back and revisit these places we've been, because it's one thing to go someplace and do a thing and leave and never come back. But if we come back, we can see the impact we've made. We can fix anything we didn't do well. We can improve everything we're doing. And in that way, keep doing, keep growing. We've been doing it for 3 months, and the company is okay. It puts gas in the bus and starts to pay our loans. But if we want it to be a legitimate corporation, a real company, we're going to put time into it. So, okay, we'll do this 8-month tour. Wow.
There's a party going on.
There's a party going on in the street. Sorry.
Is that the rest of the caravan?
Yeah, it must be. So the one thing would be come and do these things, but the other side of it is to come back and see what we've done and see where we can grow and see what else we can do. So after the 8th month tour, I'm pretty confident there'll be another 8th month tour to see what's next.
Awesome. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So, the long-term sort of thing. So, I'm just gonna go off the skills a little bit because I'm a night person. Johnny's a morning person. Los is a night person as well. So we sort of we have our schedules where it's like, okay, I'm gonna work, and then everything that I want Johnny to do in the morning while he's waiting for us to wake up, I'll shoot him an email and be like, hey, you can do this when you wake up at 7 o'clock, which is ridiculous to me. Really? 7? What happens at 7?
The early bird gets the worm.
I guess so. So that's sort of how our process works. And then also we can just get a lot done since we're all in the same general vicinity, and which is really, really useful because it helps with communication a lot. And then, for the long term, so after this 8-month tour, I'm going to be in Syracuse. Losa will probably be in Syracuse as well. We're going to help our hometown, or our place of birth as a company, sort of build up and sort of get their footing and sort of grow with them as well. In my presentation earlier, I said I worked for a couple accelerators, and one of the ones that I like a lot, which is the Start Fast Accelerator, is located in Syracuse. So I'm like, perfect. Probably going to do some video work up there and then simultaneously do some outdoor productions work. So, definitely, like Johnny said, after this 8-month tour, would love to do another tour after that, and then sort of hit up places that we haven't been before, but also maybe go to places that we've never been. So, there's a lot of opportunity being nomadic. Just you can go wherever you want, wherever the wind takes you. You follow the buffalo, that kind of stuff. So a lot of opportunities are also going to pop up from now until the next time we hit the road. So it's also not something has always been set in stone, which is nice as well. So we have the ability to adjust and sort of be flexible when it comes to traveling, when it comes to stuff that we want to do, when it comes to gigs that come up, and we can go up to Colorado and shoot some shots there if need be. I mean, where do you see us in the long term?
Well, I don't know. Just doing more stuff. I think, well, for me personally, as a filmmaker, one of my favorite things about outdoor productions is that as a filmmaker, everything is relevant because you're learning how to tell stories. So it's either you're working on a production and learning how to produce better or tell a story better, or you're living life to experience things so that you can learn how to learn those stories so that you can tell them. So for me with Outdoor Productions, it's like everything we do is so well, I'm like on 2 Facebook Lives right now. Everything we do is so valuable, just for the living, learning aspect. So I've always never answered the question. What was the question? The question was,
so what happens after 8 months?
after the 8-month tour, yeah. So I guess we're parking in Syracuse after Mayfest. And I'll be probably like living and working in Syracuse with Aaron too. I don't know, just helping out. Yeah, I guess like the thing for now, it seems so far that we take like a break over the summer to like kind of rehash what we're doing and figure out like what our next step is, and maybe we'll start another tour, or
Reassess.
maybe we'll do like the comeback tour and revisit all the cities and do more work there and like try to build them up, or like learn more about those cities specifically. So yeah.
Okay, so that's all awesome. And I guess the last question that I'll ask is, what advice can you give to businesses? What's one takeaway that each of you could share about things to know or things to do to be successful in business?
So we do things like teach social media classes and make videos for people and take photos and do all these things that people sort of don't have a grasp of. They don't really know where to start. And the thing that I say to every single person, if it's like a Instagram video, or if it's a Facebook post, or if it's a Snapchat, whatever you're doing needs to add value to the people you're doing it for. And that's sort of my biggest takeaway. Everything you do should add value. I mean, if you're selling a product, it's a heck of a lot easier to sell a product that does something for someone than a product that does nothing for them. So you can take that view whenever you're posting on social media, or whenever you're going to an event, or whenever you're talking on Facebook Live. It needs to add value. So you need to know who your audience is. You need to know who you're talking to. You need to know what they want. You need to know what benefits them, what adds to their lives. So yeah, add value in everything you do.
Awesome. Great tip.
All right. So my advice to budding entrepreneurs is really,
Or experienced entrepreneurs.
or experienced entrepreneurs. Yeah, to entrepreneurs in general. All you entrepreneurs out there. My advice is to really get yourself out of your comfort zone and get yourself out there. Because if you start to become like comfortable, and then no new innovation happens. So to say like consume a lot of media, basically really know your industry, but also get to know other industries, because that can totally broaden your mind and sort of make you look in a different perspective. And once you make yourself like vulnerable to other people, say like you want to present at 1 million cups, but you're like, I'm not a public speaker, but hey, it's a really good place to go, like to get like have a captive audience for 6 minutes, and then you get like advice, or people sort of like poop on you for 20 minutes. But I mean, it's better get it over with in 20 minutes. But it's a good experience. So definitely like get out of your comfort zone, make yourself vulnerable, put yourself in front of a crowd. But also like open your mind to learning new things and consuming like new stuff, maybe stuff that you're not used to. So like I didn't read books in college, and now I'm reading them now, because it's like this is gonna broaden my mind, and I'm gonna get some like new experience up in here. So yeah, definitely just keep things new and get yourself out there.
Whoa. Yeah, I think my thing would just be that knowing that everyone has a story and like wants to be listened to is really important, because like what I found like just from us is like every time we meet people, we listen to their story and then we tell our story, and then everyone always wants to help each other. So it's like, I guess seeing people as like just people who are, I don't know, just looking at things through a positive light of like everyone's trying to do their own thing, but they also like anyone can be willing to help you in whatever way. So it's kind of keeping an open mind to like anyone, really. Yeah, I no. Yeah, okay. Next.
Hey, That's okay. So anyhow, I'm going to end this here, but I think if you listen to these millennials, you'll find that man, they have some pretty wise wisdom, and if you're not taking some of the advice that they're offering, then maybe you're the problem. So challenge yourself, step out there, try something new, and have fun. Again, this is Dale Berkebaugh with Brandwise, your business misfit, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day.